Vaonis have just released two new smart telescopes, the Vespera 3 and the Vespera Pro 2. In this video I'm going to answer three simple questions. One, what's new with these models? How do they compare to other smart telescopes on the market? And which one, if any, is right for you? So these new models are immediate replacements for the previous Vaonis models. So the Vespera 3 replaces the Vespera 2. The Vespera Pro 2 replaces the Vespera Pro. So the older versions, the Vespera 2 and the Vespera Pro, were both released in 2024. So it's only 2 years between them being released and them getting upgraded for these newer models. Now, what's new? So at first glance, they're actually pretty similar. It doesn't seem like a dramatic shift. So they are the same construction build. They still look the same sexy telescope. They're the same weight, 5 kilogram. They both have 50mm aperture telescopes. The Vespera 3 has the same camera sensor that the Vespera 2 had. The Vespera Pro 2 has the same camera sensor that the Vespera Pro had. The same app. Basically, a lot of the key elements are the same. The main change with regards to the optics is that they have improved the lens elements inside. This should gather light, handle color better, and has a kind of shielding from urban light pollution. Overall, basically the same model, same telescope, same cameras, but with some improvements in the optics, which should improve the images coming out. So an upgrade in that terms. There are other practical upgraded elements, so particularly with the Vespera 3. So the Vespera 2 had a couple of niggles. It didn't come with a tripod, which was kind of annoying because you kind of want this to be an all-in-one package with any smart telescope that you just pull out and use. So the Vespera 3 fixes that. It now comes with an aluminium tripod. The Vespera 2 also had relatively short battery life, so about 4 hours. The Vespera 3 now has 11 hours battery life, same as the Vespera Pro 2. That's actually the longest of any smart telescope in terms of battery life. So you can set it up and it can run, you can use the plan, your app, and you can have it going all night shooting different things, and then the next day you've got a lot of cool photos and a lot of data to work with. The Vespera 3 also has increased storage over the Vespera 2. It also has an inbuilt anti-fog device, which is auto-enabled when there's a sensor triggered by humidity or temperature, so that gets rid of any impact of dew. And they have an increased warranty of 3 years to 5 years, so giving a bit of reassurance that you're going to get your money's worth. Now the catch with the Vespera 3, so it's an upgrade from the Vespera 2, but the price has gone up fairly significantly. See, the Vespera 2 you could get, and this is always going to vary, but about $1,600. The Vespera 3 is retailing at the moment for about €2,500, which is about $3,000. So again, this is always going to vary depending on where you are and when you are watching this. So you can check the links below if you want to know what the price is from different retailers, but it's a significant price increase for what is a very good device, but it is quite a lot more expensive than some of the more budget options, and I'll compare these models to them in a second. The Vespera Pro 2, it has a much more modest set of upgrades. So it already had the long battery life, it already had a good tripod, a carbon fiber tripod, it already had the bigger storage space, and it had a better camera sensor, actually the highest megapixel camera sensor of any smart telescope, and it had the same 50mm aperture telescope. So the Vespera Pro 2 doesn't upgrade any of this from the Vespera Pro. It does have the same upgrade in terms of optics, so it should result in better image, better data collection, so better photos coming out of it, which is ultimately what you really want. It is an upgrade, but in contrast to the price increase for the Vespera 3, the Vespera Pro 2 is coming in at the same price as the Vespera Pro. How do these compare to other smart telescope options in the market? So if you've seen any of my videos or read any of my articles, I always break down available smart telescopes into 3 categories. So budget, mid-range and premium, and mid-range is still quite expensive. So that's where these models would fit. You have good budget options, particularly the SeeStar S30 Pro, the Dwarf 3. They're really good. They're really small and compact. They're coming in at, you check again, but $500–600 or so. They're great devices. They're a little bit fiddly. The apps aren't always particularly intuitive. Takes a bit of getting used to. With the Vespera models, they cost more. They are slightly better smart telescopes and the experience is much slicker. So there are some comparative upgrades compared to the more budget options, but that price difference is pretty huge, particularly now with the Vespera 3 costing more than the Vespera 2 did. The other way, if you are thinking of buying either of these Vespera models, is you might want to compare it to the more premium options, so the ones that are actually costing $4,000 or more. So there's a couple here which make good points of comparison. So the first is the Celestron Origin Mark II. So this is probably the best astrophotography image producing smart telescope. So it has a much bigger Celestron telescope. It is a really good device if you want to be using that on your own for astrophotography. And I say on your own for astrophotography because it's very heavy, much heavier than certainly the Vespera models and the budget models, but heavier than any other smart telescope and more bulky. So it's a much less portable device. And one of the big pros of smart telescopes is they are generally pretty small, compact and portable. So it depends on what you're after and how you're going to use it. The other one that's good to compare to is the Unistellar Odyssey Pro. So this has a eyepiece on the side, and it's the only one other than the Evscope 2, which is another Unistellar model, that have eyepieces on the side. And not everybody likes this, but I think it's actually really good. So you are looking through at a screen on the eyepiece, so it's a digital image and it's building as your smart telescope gathers light, and so that image of whatever you're looking at, the galaxy, whatever, is getting better the longer you look at it. But it's just a much more impressive experience if you're sharing it with someone else. So if you want to share this with your family, your friends, you want to be like, look at this cool thing I've got, have a look through there and see what we can see, and you show them the image of that whirlpool galaxy or whatever, it is much more impressive than saying, this device here is taking a photo of that galaxy, here it is on my phone. It's like, okay, that's cool, but it makes it feel much more real, and it's a much more shared experience that you can show off, you can generate excitement in others. That's the big pro of the eyepiece that comes on the Unistellar Odyssey Pro. So it's worth considering if you've got the budget to either go for one of those other two more premium ones. If you don't have anywhere near the budget, those budget ones are good. If you do have something in the middle, these Vespera models are pretty good. It's just up to you where your budget sits. I hope you found that useful and that gives you a bit of an insight into where these models sit and who it might appeal to. I always keep an up-to-date article on my website that tells you all the available good smart telescopes, where they sit on that budget mid-range premium tier, what the pros and cons are. So I'll link to that below. But if you want to see the video version of that, then you can check out this where I go through all the latest models and show you what to look for. Thank you very much.